biggest thing I didn't like, and I don't like to nitpick over little things. I could tell you I didn't like the thing. I could tell you there's some inconsistencies. I don't like to do that. I'll leave that to my man. You know, I'll leave that to our boy. I don't like to do that. I can tell you that without knowing anything about the future, I feel like this movie completely slapped in the face the end credit scene we got in Thunderbolts. It doesn't give us a satisfactory explanation for that end credit scene, and that is the one nitpicky gripe that I have, that we
I
don't
don't
get
think
a
it's nitpicky.
satisf
I think it was resounding. The level of disappointment in that end credit scene, was made ripples across the internet. People were very upset. Um, they were very disappointed, and I don't. It was almost. It's so funny because it came off like it came across like they really thought this was going to be a huge end credit scene to show this partial reveal of Doom, right? This
Yeah, but I'm talking
partial.
about the Thunderbolts end credit scene where we got the
Yeah, I
Fantastic
know.
Four ship entering the
I know,
mainstream
but
universe.
the end credit scene didn't speak to why that was happening at all,
Right,
right?
at
But
all. No,
but
the
they
movie
show
didn't.
but I think that Feige and the team looked at it like, "Yo, we're gonna give him a piece of this here, Doctor Doom, and that's gonna speak to why we're there." You know what I mean? Like, why that's happening or whatever.
But it's crazy because you're living under a rock if you think that you're gonna put out a Fantastic Four movie and you've cast Doctor Doom and you're not gonna get Doctor Doom. Like, anyone who thought that was living under a rock. You had to know
I
that you were
mean,
gonna get
I'm
something Doom related.
I'm the proverbial rock here. I thought that by the time the movie was over, I had forgotten about Doom altogether because Doom
Really?
hadn't really yeah, he had not been introduced. And I wanted to see Doom. I looked and hoped to see Doom at some point in the movie, but it definitely was like, well, I guess we're not gonna see him. And then when I saw him, I was kind of like, well, why you only showing me his back? Well, I mean, you ain't did nothing. Like what? And then ultimately,
Well, I
I'm
show you his
watching the
back
credits.
because I don't have to pay Robert Downey Jr. a lot of money to
Well,
be
I
in an end
know,
credit
I
scene.
know, I know the logistics behind it, right? But it
That's what
was,
it is.
but it again, it was not worth me staying. It wasn't worth me staying. It moved nothing. It changed nothing. It didn't get me hyped and anticipated for anything at all. So what's
Well,
happening here? We know that. Go ahead.
If anything, the Thunderbolts end credit scene got people hyped and anticipated for Fantastic Four. And then
Yeah,
what you got, especially in considering that end credit scene, left people like, "Wait a minute,
yeah.
huh?"
That does not set a good precedence for Avengers Doomsday. Because now it's telling me what I'm gathering from all of this is that Avengers Doomsday is about Doom taking Franklin and them chasing Doom to get Franklin back.
Well, where's my investment? Because you just said it. What is the Avengers the like Marvel's other phases with 50% of their movies, in my opinion, being bad and 50% being good, set up the end game, so to speak, and no pun intended, right? Their other phases set up their end game. You were invested in Infinity War and Endgame because the movies preceding them set it up and prepared you for it. You're asking me to contribute and commit to Doomsday with no setup, with no preparation. None of the movies you dropped from across Captain America to they're not even consistent. They're not cohesive, right? So you get the end credit scene in Captain America saying that something's coming, right? And then you get the end credit scene in Fantastic Four with the little spaceship. And then you get these end credit scenes with the snippet of Doctor Doom, but it doesn't set up an investment. It doesn't say, "Hey, this is what has happened in between this and this." So there's no bridging of these gaps.
Yeah,
It's
I feel
just,
like
"Oh,
we're
we're
all
gonna
over
put
the
out a
place right
super
now.
film." Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is very much so like a right now it's going to feel like a um they're doing the annual team up movie. Like, in Marvel, when they do the crossover events,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like we're doing the crossover event because we got to, right? And I don't know how much Jonathan Majors threw all of this out, through all this out. You know what? I think that everyone would have lost their shit if Kang was the one that was gonna take Franklin. That would have been fucking something.
I mean, it makes sense, right? They're related.
Right, you know what I'm saying? If Kang and I mean just to see Jonathan Majors again as Kang coming in and then being yo, that would have set people on fire because then you're like, well, wait, Kang and Doomsday is happening? Like, what is Doomsday now? You know what I mean? Like, kind of shit. And I think that would have driven more hype over seeing the back of Doom, right? And then again, you don't have to pay Jonathan Majors to reprise his role, right? But I think that that would have done what you said. It would have started to tie things together. It would have started to, give me some
Yeah.
investment because now we're like, okay, this thing is happening with Clea and Stephen Strange, right? And there's all these
Clee.
encourage who
Clee.
fucking motherfucking Clea
Clee Strange.
Clea Strange. I thought it was Clea.
Her name is Clee. But I mean,
Okay, whatever. Okay. Well, that chick, okay, so Clee and Doctor Strange, they're dealing with a bunch of incursions, right? That's a big thing that's happening for them. And so you got these incursions happening, and then you got the Thunderbolts seeing the Fantastic Four coming in, and they're like, oh, why are they coming here from another world that's in another multiverse, right? And then you have these things with these bands happening in Shang-Chi, and these other relics and sending a beacon. Now, all of these things start to tie
you just
together.
have a history of end credit scenes that have that haven't been satisfied, so to speak, right?
They
They
haven't been
haven't
tied
there
together.
hasn't been there's not even
I
hasn't been
think
tied
I think
together.
that
They haven't been explained.
if they would have used Kang as opposed to that one, everyone would have flipped out because that would have been a dope fucking reveal that JM was back, right? And I think that would have built hype and anticipation for what was to come because we already know that Doom is gonna come in and rip out Kang's fucking spine.
So you didn't cancel Jonathan Majors.
Of course not. Why would I?
Okay.